Today on Cryptic Mass Guitar, I do the video that I dread making every year, and that's showing you my guitar collection. Now before I start running back and forth, grabbing different guitars and stuff like that, and preparing myself mentally for all of the edits so I can make this a somewhat watchable video, I do want to address, I wanted to have this out for January 1st, but I'm a little behind the times. I got pretty sick over the holidays. I put on 15 pounds full of just, sugar and stuff like that. So that's kind of making me feel weird. And I had my parents from a different province in here. So I've kind of been trying to focus on, getting better and spending time with my family without, making them throw up from all the different sugary farts and stuff like that, and sick farts that I've been having. I'm from Nova Scotia. Sometimes we call them farts. And also, because of the way that I have to film this video, you're going to hear camera audio, so I'm sorry for that. And I also find it important to state, this is not a flex. This is not me saying, I have the greatest collection, or I've spent all of this money, or this or that. I recognize fully that I have a problem. And it's a problem that I enjoy having, but I do find it an issue to be, with myself. I have too many guitars, although I enjoy having them. And also, I have what some people call boomer guitars. They all have heads on the top. They have headstocks on them. There's nothing with a Floyd Rose or anything like that, and then there's no multi-scale or anything. So just know that these are the guitars that I really enjoy. There's no part of me that thinks that any other guitar is bad or anything like that. These are just guitars that I really enjoy. And apparently that makes me a grandpa before I'm a grandpa. But yeah, just know that I'm not saying that these guitars are better than any other guitar. These are just the ones that I really enjoy. So starting out with the Gretsch guitars, we have the Gretsch G6120W, the Western Nashville. It's Western because it has the Western motif to it. So we've got like a whole bunch of cowboy stuff. I call this one the Steve. The Gretsch G6120DC, this is the Chet Atkins double cut. I believe this is a Nashville. The Brian Setzer Gretsch G6120, what is it, SH? This is the Brian Setzer Hot Rod. The original owner actually took this to a hot rod shop. He spent like $1,200 on it. I have the receipts for it. And he had them actually put some pinstriping on it, do some refinishing, and put some gold foil and stuff on it. Now let's take a look at the Fender guitars. We'll start off with some Telecasters. This is my Fender American Series Telecaster. This one here has an ash body. The Fender American Standard Telecaster. This is the last year that they had the American Standards. Fender American Professional 2 Telecaster. The Fender American Original 60s Thin Line Telecaster. It's got a nitro finish and a really long name. The Fender Parallel Universe Jazz Telecasters. This is a Jazzmaster Telecaster mashup, and it also has nitro finish and a bound fretboard. Then we have the Fender American Professional 2 Jazzmaster. This is in the sunburst color. I still haven't taken all of the stuff off the pickguard. I know a lot of people hate when people do that, but it's my guitar, and I like doing that. So that wasn't a Telecaster. I did it because it was after the Jazz Telecaster. But we have the Fender Parallel Universe Strat Telecaster. It's a nitro finished ash body Stratocaster in a Telecaster body. This thing is heavy and a very welcomed heaviness. Now let's take a look at the Strats that I have that are just fully Strats. The Fender American Standard 40th Anniversary Stratocaster. So this one here, this is a light green sparkle guitar that's probably going to show up either silver or a really weird green because I'm partially colorblind. So some of the colors that you see here, I'm really sorry. I do my editing and color correcting myself, And man, sometimes it just did not work. But this is a 40th anniversary. It's not like the super limited edition, but it's like all of the Strats in this year, or all the American Standard Strats had this to it. So we've got 40th anniversary badging on the headstock, and as well on the back plate for the bolt-on neck, we've got Fender Stratocaster, 40 years and still rocking. Next up, we have the Fender Deluxe Strat Plus, or the Stratocaster Plus, or the Fender American Deluxe Stratocaster Plus, or the Stratocaster Plus Deluxe. The people call it a whole bunch of different things, but I love this guitar. Then we have the last year for the Fender American Standard. It's a 99 Fender American Standard Stratocaster. It was the last one that actually had the two string trees on here. The Fender American Series Stratocaster. This one here is the first year that it changed from the American Standard to the American Series, and note we only have one string tree. This is also a really cool ash body. The Fender American Deluxe Stratocaster. So this is a 2010. It's not one of the, like, whatever they call it, the luxury, or I don't even know what they call it anymore. But we have the N3 noiseless pickups, and just a fantastic guitar. The Fender American Standard Stratocaster. Didn't I say that the American Standard was gone? It was the American Series. It was just basically the Fender American Stratocaster, but they dubbed it the American Series lineup. They kind of went back to the American Standard naming, and they only kept it with one string tree. It's because, tuning posts were... The Fender American Professional, what we now dub the American Professional 1 Stratocaster. This one has a rosewood board. The Fender American Professional 1 Stratocaster. This one has an ash body, and we also have a maple board. The Fender Rarities Quilted Maple Top Stratocaster. I didn't think I was going to remember that. I might have bungled the name a little, but this is a quilted maple top Stratocaster. It's also like it's an American Originals, I think it's 60s as well. It also has a rosewood neck, and it does not have any nitro. The Fender Rarities Flamed Maple Top HSS Thin Line Stratocaster. Also has a rosewood neck. It's the only one that I have that has a humbucker in it, and it's a thin line. The Fender American Professional 2 Stratocaster. Rosewood board. Only reason I really bought this guitar was because of the color. My best friend growing up, he had this color, Squire Fender Stratocaster, and it was left-handed, and I used to play it when it was leaning up against the wall. I played Smoke on the Water. The Fender American Professional 2 Stratocaster with a rosewood board. I have two of them. I don't know, I'm stupid. The Fender 75th Anniversary Commemorative Stratocaster. This is for the 75th anniversary of Fender, not for the 75th anniversary of the Stratocaster. So there was actually a Telecaster version too. This one here has the Ingo in the back, or ingot, I don't know what you call it. It's a little, penny or nickel that's in the back of the headstock. As well, it's an ash body. Mine is not terribly figured or anything like that, but I think it looks great. And it also has the 75th anniversary logo on the backplate. So those are all my Gretsch and Fender guitars. Now, how much more boomer can I be to the kiddies here? Let's grab my Gibsons. The Gibson Les Paul Tribute. The Gibson Les Paul Studio. The Gibson Les Paul Studio LP100, the Les Paul 100 edition. So it's used to have the, robot tuners, and it's got the little hologram of Les Paul waving and the wider fretboard. The Gibson Les Paul Classic 2018 edition. So it's got the P90 pickups. It's non-weight relief. So this is basically a Les Paul standard 60s nowadays, just with P90s in it. the Gibson Les Paul Classic, the Gibson Les Paul Junior, the Gibson Les Paul Special, the Gibson Les Paul Tribute Special DC, whatever they want to call it. It's a fantastic guitar though. The Gibson Les Paul Tribute Special with humbuckers. The Gibson Les Paul Deluxe. This is a 30th anniversary limited edition with the Epiphone designed mini humbuckers. I'm out of breath here, I'm sorry. The Gibson Les Paul Traditional, the 120th anniversary edition. It's the 120th anniversary of Gibson, not the 120th anniversary of Les Paul. I get that comment a lot. The Gibson Les Paul Standard Plus 120th anniversary edition. This one has the quadruple A flame maple top, which is probably not going to show up that well. Also, the binding here doesn't actually have the nubs. Some of them don't have that, like my custom doesn't have the nubs on them. Most of them do have the nubs, but this one here doesn't, and the reason for it is it promotes a little more play on the frets. The Gibson Les Paul Standard 50s limited edition AAA maple top. Definitely not as uniform of a flame as the quadruple A, but I really like it. It's pretty deep and it's pretty thick. The Gibson Les Paul Standard 60s. Still out of breath. I'm running upstairs and running downstairs and everything, and I'm a little out of shape here, and I'm old and I'm sick. The Gibson Les Paul Custom Showcase Edition. So basically, this is a 1988 Les Paul Custom. There's only 200 of these made, and then 200 of a whole bunch of different other ones. I changed the pickups on it. I changed a whole bunch of stuff on this guitar. Originally came with EMGs from the factory. And it's definitely got some awesome aging spots on it. The back of the headstock is just, oh, freaking, it's good patina. The Gibson SG Standard 61 with Maestro Vibrola. The Gibson SG Standard 61. This one doesn't weigh as much because it doesn't have the Maestro Vibrola on it. And I'm a nerd, and I put the Les Paul truss rod cover on it. I'm a nerd. The Gibson SG Standard, the Gibson SG Junior, and the last guitar that will make me run up and down the stairs. So the rest are sitting on a rack right there. The Gibson SG Standard Limited. So this actually has a baked maple fretboard on it, and even though this looks like it's a black guitar, it's all dusty. It's actually, I think the color is like oxblood, or no, it's not oxblood. It's vintage cherry or something. The Gibson SG Standard Tribute, or Tribute Standard. It's just the SG Tribute now, but when they sold this was listed as the Gibson SG Standard Tribute, or Tribute Standard. I added pickup covers. The Gibson Explorer. This is a 2010 model in ebony. I changed the knobs and I added pickup covers because I didn't like the way that my hand rested on the side with the wrapping or whatever felt on it. The Gibson Explorer. This is an antique natural. This is the current lineup of Explorers. The Gibson Firebird Traditional. I think this was just the Firebird T because it was also like the high performance with the robot tuners and stuff like that. This is a 2017 model, so this one here is a little different as it has not the banjo tuners, but the Steinberger tuners. After this, when the new regime came in, they actually switched it over to like mini Grovers, and then they discontinued the Firebird. They discontinued it. The Gibson Flying V 98 2007 reissue. I added pickup covers because, again, sometimes when I'm playing, I rest my hand near the pickup, feel the little wrap thing they put around it, and it feels weird, so I put pickup covers on it. The Gibson Flying V Japan. This is technically a custom shop, even though it's not a custom shop, but it's a custom shop. But I don't brag about it being a custom shop, I just say it's a custom shop because if I don't, someone in the comments is going to go, hey, that's a custom shop. They didn't have a Flying V model that year, which is very weird, in 2015. So Japan actually did a limited custom order of these. This is actually a 70s model, so it has the thinner body. We have the volute, and there's the pickup covers on here. There's no pickup rings or anything like that. And we have the witch top knobs. It didn't sell all too well in Japan. So the remainder of those actually came over to Canada, which is where I bought it. It's also not a black guitar, it's in Sunburst. The Gibson Flying V Melody Maker. I forgot this guitar last year when I did my collection video. So, the Gibson Flying V Melody Maker, but just pretend I was a little fatter. The Gibson Blues Hawk. This one here made me squeak my voice a little bit. I've wanted this guitar since I was like 16. I saw it in a catalog, and I swear up and down I saw Joe Walsh playing it, and that was one of the reasons I was like, man, I like that guitar. That's a Joe Walsh guitar, and it's just fantastic. The Gibson ES335. This is a 2000s model, and it's got a beautiful figured top, figured sides, and figured backs. So nowadays this would be called the Gibson ES335 figured, but it still has the dot inlays rather than the block inlays, because I think the figureds come with blocks now. And the Gibson ES135. This is a 1992 version. This used to be the entry level for Gibson semi-hollow bodies. So some people don't really hold it in high regard. The pickups here also are not P90s. They're P100s. So they don't have. They're basically like a humbucker in P90 casing. That doesn't sound like a P90 and doesn't sound like a humbucker. So people didn't like that. So they eventually changed it to include humbuckers, and then they changed it. I think they called it the 137 after that. And had the little C inlay logo kind of deal. But I absolutely love this guitar. This is one of my most favorite guitars. And it just is absolutely amazing. It's a fantastic example of sunburst, which it's pretty hard to deny that sunburst is my favorite color for guitars. But yeah, this is just the last guitar that I'm going to show you that's not an acoustic, because now I realize I have a Martin D35 and I gotta go get it. My Martin D35 acoustic. And this is out of tune. This lives in its case right now because my basement goes through temperature changes like a lot of people's basements, especially in Canada. So this guitar here is basically the only one that reacts to the weather by doing, not just the regular little bit of movement in the neck. So basically, I need a new bridge. It doesn't affect playing or anything like that, but my bridge is slightly cracked or cracked across, and the seam for the acoustic has opened up a little bit, which I've watched a ton of videos just saying, hey, that's not a big deal at all. But when you spend a lot of money on an acoustic guitar and it does that, you're usually panicked a little, going like, it's a bit of a big deal to me. So that is my entire guitar collection. Today is currently January 2nd, 2024, and I'm gonna again say I'm gonna try and not buy a guitar for a year, but I've already seen that Fenders releasing their 70th anniversary Stratocaster, has a maple top on it, and I'm a sucker, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I do have to reiterate here that this is not me flexing or anything like that, or saying, hey, I have all these guitars. I have a legitimate problem with them. That, like I said, I'm going to try and not buy a guitar for a year. Didn't really work for me last year. But it's something that I'm personally working on, just because it's a lot to handle. I just wish that there wasn't this giant thing of magic that I feel with these guitars, and especially every time I get a new guitar. I don't know what it is. It's just a guitar that I don't own, or I didn't own before, and I tend to bond with them just very, very well, and get very inspired. And luckily, with all the guitars that I own now, I'm still inspired each day with them. So I'm going to go edit this in bed, because I'm at that point now where I'm hot and cold at the same time. And also realize I didn't drink the rest of my protein shake. Thanks for watching. I'm sorry it was so long.